Okay, so I am covering 10 hacks to help you conquer your period while you travel. But before I get into the details, let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Nicole Nelson, and I'm a nurse practitioner. My background is in family medicine. On this channel, I talk about things related to health, wellness, nutrition, and travel. And in particular, I am helping Black women to create the life that we want to live rather than the one that has been assigned to us. So if that is something that you are interested in, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, put a like on this video, and I will continue to provide you with information. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the 10 hacks that you really do need to know if you're someone who enjoys to travel, but you also deal with a period. So I will start with number 1, a period tracker. A period tracker is very easy for you to download and have available on your phone. It will help you to know when your period is coming, whether you have a trip coming up in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or a couple of years. You can use the app to know exactly if you are going to be having your period during that time, because you definitely want to be prepared. So if you don't already have a period tracker, pause this video right now, go ahead and find one, download it to your phone, and that way you can start tracking your cycle. Most women do get their period every 23 to 31 days. Of course, there are some women who have irregular or abnormal periods. We're not talking about y'all. We're talking about those who do have a regular, consistent cycle. You want to be aware, and it's really just going to help you to optimize your planning while you're traveling. So there are lots of options for period tracker apps. I mean, use the Googles. They will help you to find one that works well for you. Number 2. This hack I've discovered is one that some women aren't aware of, and so I think it will really come in handy for you. And that is taking ibuprofen or a leave about 2 to 3 days prior to the start of your period. So of course, if you have that period tracker app, you know when your period's coming, and you know about 2 to 3 days beforehand, and you can start using ibuprofen, a couple tablets, 3 times a day with water, and that will help to decrease the severity of your cramps. Sometimes it will help decrease your blood flow if you're someone who suffers, who deals with like moderate to heavier bleeding. It can help decrease some of that, some of those symptoms. So if you don't know, now you know. Thank me in the comments. So if you're a woman, or if you know a woman, if you are a woman or if you know a woman who deals with heavier periods or bleeding and she hasn't tried taking the ibuprofen before her period comes, make sure she knows that she can do that. She doesn't have to wait until she's in pain. Start doing it a few days ahead of time, and just thank me in the comments below. Number 3. Hydrate and eat clean. So a few days before you travel, it's really good, especially if you're going to be having your menstrual period, to hydrate well, drink plenty of water, and try and eat clean. So trying to reduce fried foods, sugars, high carbs, especially the unhealthy carbs. Those are all things that tend to decrease those are all the things that tend to increase like menstrual cramping, discomfort, bloating, and just general changes in mood. So if you can eat clean and hydrate prior to your period, generally you're going to feel better overall, not only while you're traveling, but definitely if you're dealing with having your period while you're traveling. Number 4 that I have on my list, and I'm going to grab it, which is menstrual underwear. Menstrual underwear. So if you haven't tried them, you might want to give them a try. So menstrual underwear just help to give you an added layer of protection and confidence. And when you're traveling in particular, you may not have access to the amenities that you're used to at the frequency which you're used to having access to them. So added layers of protection are always good to have on hand. Not only for while you travel, but even like think in terms of like being on a longer flight. So if you're doing a long haul flight and you are gonna have to sit on that plane for more than 10 hours, menstrual underwear are a game changer. They help with like absorption and would just decrease the likelihood that you're gonna have leakages, accidents, those types of things. So they really do come in handy. Or like using them at night, those types of things really, really come in handy. Number 5 on my list is small plastic bags. Let's see, I think I have one. Small plastic bags, like the Ziploc bags. I like the Ziploc bags that have the zipper lock. Those come in handy while you're traveling, especially while you have your period, because you can use that to discard any items that you may have had to use, especially if you may not have access to the toilets, bathrooms, trash cans, or different things that you may be used to having. Even if you don't necessarily anticipate not having access to those things, it's good just to have a few on hand in case you need them. Again, thinking about being even just on a long flight, or if you're in a close quarters where there's only one small can, or there's one shared bathroom where there's 8 people using it, whatever the case is, you might want to have somewhere where you can just temporarily store your used menstrual products until you can get them to a place where you feel more comfortable, confident to discard them appropriately. So having some Ziploc bags, really, really handy with travel. Number 6, menstrual cups or discs. So if you haven't used menstrual cups, I'll show you one here. Menstrual cup is just, you fold it in half, you insert it, and then it just pops open like that. And it can be left in place for up to, I think it says 12 hours on the label. And then once you are ready to remove it, you use this little knob to pull it out. You can pour the contents into the toilet, and then you can just rinse it out in order to reinsert. So there's minimal waste associated with that. With the use of a menstrual cup, can really come in handy because it can be left in up to 12 hours, and storage is pretty easy and simple when not in use. Doesn't take up too much room in your luggage. The other product that I have are menstrual discs. So I'll show you this in the case you haven't seen a menstrual disc. Looks like this. Similarly, you just squeeze it like this to insert it. Once it's in, it pops open like this. So the cervix is kind of sitting in there, and so the contents will be collected here. And then of course, when you're ready to remove it, you'll have to be able to, have to be able to grab on the rim in order to pull it out. So with the menstrual disc, I think these can be left in like 8 hours, I believe, depending on your flow, your body. You know your body best. But of course with this, the way that it's designed, it doesn't have as much volume, so this can be a little more prone to leakage with removal. So ultimately you want to be able to practice these things. And also with this, you just have to keep in mind that you have to discard this item, so it can't be flushed down the toilet. It's pretty good sized device, so even though you're leaving it in longer, you'll have to be mindful of how you're going to get rid of this, which is why the Ziploc bag can come in handy, especially if you're in an environment where you're not 100% sure that you're going to have access to the amenities that you would need to get rid of this. You can easily just discard it in your bag temporarily, and for me, probably double bag it to ensure that no leakage. And of course, probably want to wrap it in tissue or your handy wipes if there's no tissue available. Tissue is not available everywhere. So if you haven't traveled, just know that toilet paper is not standard for everywhere. So having the wipes can be, like I said, an essential item, because you can use them to wipe this and then to wrap this, and then you can keep it temporarily in this bag until you can get to a garbage. So just some things you want to have in mind. The other big thing that I would say about that is, if you're planning to travel, you don't want to practice using these while you're traveling. So these take some time to practice. You want to give yourself a good 3 cycles of using these products before you probably have built up the confidence level to use these confidently while traveling. So you don't want to necessarily plan travel around using these if you've never used them before, because it is going to require some practice. So go ahead, and if you have travel coming up, go ahead and try some new products to kind of develop what you're most comfortable with, and also build your confidence in how to use it, because just generally you have to get comfortable with your body, with your anatomy, and what methods work best with getting these inserted and removed. And you don't want to be trying to figure that out while you're in a tiny little airplane bathroom. Trust me, you don't. The next thing that I have on my list, of course, is just your panty liners, your pads, your tampons. You might think it goes without saying, but to be honest, you definitely want to make sure you have the products that you need. That's why we talked about having that period tracker, because now you know exactly when your period is going to come. You want to probably plan in advance to have your products that you normally use available to you. And that's because, number one, you don't want to be in a situation where you can't access them. Number two, because some of the products that you normally use, even if you're somewhere else in another part of the world, they may not be built and work in the exact same way that you're used to. So for example, there's certain name brand products that we use, and to be honest, when you travel overseas, they're not the same. Even though it's the same box, same writing, same name, same brand, it's not the same. So you don't want to discover that by accident while you're traveling, that what normally works for you in the US, that when you buy it overseas, it just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So have your things available. Number 8 that I have on my list, wipes. Wipes come in super handy as a hack for while you're traveling. So even if you don't normally use wipes for your period while at home, I would encourage you to carry some in your luggage, in your bag while you're traveling if you have your period, because you're definitely gonna want to have access to these in order to wipe hands, clean up any spills or messes where normally you would have access to certain amenities while you're home. It just may not be as easily accessible while you're traveling, or even on the plane. Being able to just wipe your hands, wipe the seats, right, before you even touch them, wipe the handles of things. Just trust me, just get some. The other, number 9. So the other thing that I have for you, which is number 9 on my list, is I would say kind of a travel hack. But what I like to do when I'm traveling and I have my period, I know it's that time of the month, and even a few days before, right? Because ladies, we know our bodies, sometimes they do unusual things. But if I know it's a few days prior to my period, and definitely during my period, one of the things that I like to travel with, and this is regardless, I like to travel with like a little scarf. And I did cover this in my travel video for long haul flights, And I mentioned some of the things that I use it for, but in particular during my period, one of the things that I like to use it for is to cover the mattress. Like I talked about earlier, you want to have multi layers of protection, but even beyond that, you want to have good etiquette while you travel. And truthfully, we know, ladies, that sometimes at night things shift, our anatomies shift, our bodies and our products tend to shift at night. The last thing that we want is to find ourselves in a situation where there's a big stain on the mattress or on the beddings wherever we're traveling. I just think it's good etiquette to plan properly and to avoid that type of, I'll call it damage, because bloodstains are not easy to remove. Now, even when you're home and you have access to all the products, the bleaches, the hot water, and all these things that you can do while you're home, while you're traveling, you may not have access to that. And it's just good etiquette to try to ensure all that you can to protect and just to protect the things that you are using, and make sure that you're returning them in the same condition that you found them. The other thing that I like to do, because I tend to, I have braids, or I use oils in my hair, is I also tend to cover the pillowcase with one of these while I'm traveling, because oils tend to seep through pillowcases. I also wear makeup sometimes, even though I use a makeup remover. Those things can cause staining because the colors of the makeup is going to be my color, and that can cause staining. So I think it's just good etiquette to cover things so that you're not leaving things with very dark stains or possibly permanent irreversible damage. It's not good. And then last but certainly not least, what I have on my list is a peri bottle. So a peri bottle, if you have had a baby, you are probably familiar with the fact that when you left the hospital, they gave you a little bottle full of warm water, and that each time you used the bathroom, you were able to use that bottle to kind of clean things up down there. Well, you don't have to be having a baby to use a peri bottle, and in fact, it's very good overall for the hygiene of the VV. So especially during your period, having a little bottle full of warm water can be really helpful. So this is the little bottle that comes in the travel kit. Like if you buy any normal travel kit where you keep your lotion, your body wash, whatever you like to have in there, you can actually just keep one and put warm water in there. And then I like to use this kind of cap, or one that's better for water, because it's going to help direct the flow of water to the areas of interest more easily than the standard cap that comes in it. But if you only have the standard cap, go with the standard cap. We're gonna do what we have to do. But this comes in really, really helpful just to keep things hygienic, fresh, and you have a very clean slate every time that you have an opportunity to go into the bathroom, whether or not there's running water, whether or not the amenities are up to maybe what you're normally accustomed to. And in addition to that, it really just helps you to feel your best, right? You have your best level of confidence when you know that things are taken care of, things are hygienic. Now, of course, ideally, a bidet. A bidet is life-changing. So if you have not yet experienced the beauty and the life-changing experience of having a bidet, then definitely make sure that you try that. It'll provide you with a level of cleanliness, comfort, and freshness that you can only get from the shower or a bidet. And so assuming you don't have access to a bidet, then the next best thing that we can do for ourselves, especially during travel, long flights, somewhere we might be sitting there for 10, 15, 20 hours without having access to a shower, peri bottle, your best friend. So make sure that you have it available. So that is all that I have for you. I hope that you find that all helpful. If so, please go ahead and like this video. Leave a comment below. Let me know what things that you find to be most helpful while you're traveling, or any products that you've used that you found to be really helpful while you're traveling and on your period. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.